Book 3, Stage 5, Lesson 74. Open conditional. Open conditional. The structure of open conditional is if plus present plus future. If I go to London, I will see the Thames. If I go to London, I will see the Thames. Present subjunctive conditional. Present subjunctive conditional. The structure of present subjunctive conditional is if plus past subjunctive plus conditional. For example, if I went to London, I would see the Thames. If I went to London, I would see the Thames. Past subjunctive conditional is if plus past perfect plus past conditional equals past supposition. For example, if I had gone to London, I would have seen the Thames. If I had gone to London, I would have seen the Thames. So, what does an open conditional express? What does an open conditional express?
An open conditional express probability.
Very good. What is its construction? What is its construction?
Its construction is if plus present plus future.
Very good. Can you give me an example, please?
If I study hard, I will pass my exams.
Very good. What does a present subjunctive conditional express? What does a present subjunctive conditional express?
A present subjunctive conditional expresses a supposition in the present, something that in fact does not happen.
Very good. What's its construction? Its
construction is if plus past subjunctive plus conditional.
Very good. Could you give me an example, please?
If I bought a car, I would buy a fast one.
Very good. Now, a past subjunctive conditional expresses a supposition in the past. Something that did not in fact happen. As you know, in English we don't have a separate tense for the subjunctive, except for the verb to be. For the present subjunctive, we use the past simple and I say if I took, if I opened, etc. Whilst for the past subjunctive, we use the past perfect and say if I had taken, if I had gone. The construction of the past subjunctive conditional is if plus past perfect, past subjunctive, past conditional. For example, if I had seen Mr. Brown yesterday, I would have given him your letter. This means that I did not see Mr. Brown and I did not give him the letter. So, what does a past subjunctive conditional express? What does a past subjunctive conditional express?
A past subjunctive conditional expresses a supposition in the past, something that in fact did not happen.
Very good. What is its construction? Its
construction is if plus past perfect plus past condition.
Very good. Do we have a separate tense in English for the subjunctive? Do we have a separate tense in English for the subjunctive?
No, we don't have a separate tense in English for the subjunctive.
So what do we use instead? For
the present subjunctive, we use the past simple, whilst for the past subjunctive, we use the past perfect.
If you had been born in England, which language would you have spoken as a child? If you had been born in England, which language would you have spoken as a child?
If I had been born in England, I would have spoken English as a child.
Very good. Were you in fact born in England?
No, I wasn't in fact born in England.
Exactly. Therefore, it is just a past supposition, right? If you had not studied English, which language would you have studied instead? If you hadn't studied English, what language would you have studied instead?
If I had not studied English, I would have studied German instead.
If you had not come here last week, what would you have done instead? If you had not come here last week, what would you have done instead?
If I had not come here last week, I would have gone on vacation.
Very good. If the last world war had been an atomic war, what do you think would have happened to the world? If the last war had been an atomic war, what do you think would have happened to the world?
If the last world war had been an atomic war, I think that most of the world would have been destroyed and most of the people in it are left to suffer and die a slow death.
Very good. Character. What kind of character do you like to see in a person? What kind of character do you like to see in a person?
The kind of character I'd like to see in a person is one that is strong and pleasant and interesting.
Very good. End of lesson 74.